I'm actually going to be employing a tactic I use from Salt Bay.
What?
I'm going to make meat spaghetti.
Oh, what?
I'm going to make meat pasta.
Meat pasta? Oh, okay.
A lot of you guys have been asking to see Guga, and today we're going to be seeing him versus Nick DiGiovanni compete. My name is James Makinson. I've been cooking for many years in the United States and over here in Europe, and I have some other recipe videos on my YouTube channel as well if you'd like to see those videos after this one. And if you do happen to enjoy this video, then be sure to give it a like, maybe a share, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos. Now, let's get started.
This is the third competition. The first one, we tied off. The second one, I was fortunate enough to win. But today is the third one. And I got my brother here, Nick. Are you ready, Nick?
Let's do it.
You're gonna beat me this time, right?
I hope so.
We're gonna have to see those other competitions sometime.
Well, here's the deal. We got a $1 steak challenge. I've been trying to make this steak taste good for a very long time. I have not been successful yet. Maybe I will today, but I want to know your idea, what you bring up to the table to try to make this taste good, Nick.
You know I always do something crazy.
We're about to find out right now.
The last video that we reviewed with Guga was with the $1 steak as well. If you haven't seen that, guys, you should go check that video after this one.
I'm basically going to take one piece, and you can take as much as you want.
That is not a nice cut of meat, huh? I'm actually going to be employing a tactic I use from Salt Bay.
What?
I'm going to make meat spaghetti.
Oh, what?
I'm going to make meat pasta.
Meat pasta? Oh, okay.
Mentioning Salt Bay in front of Guga is not a very good thing, is it? But Nick is going to be making meat pasta? And if we just take a look at Guga's reaction again, I love it because even Guga is like, seriously? This will be interesting.
Well, I'm gonna make a chicken fried steak.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that should be good, right?
Let's find out.
Well, let's find out with $1 meat.
So Guga's going to be making schnitzel. Because this meat's not tender, this cut, he's going to have to really, really tenderize it. Because otherwise, it's going to be very chewy.
All right, first things first, I'm actually going to cut down the whole line because I'm going to be trying to make nice long strips out of this meat.
That is very interesting, the route you're going. I'm going a complete different route. I'm gonna cut it as steaks, but since this thing is not tender,
I am gonna make it tender.
One quick thing though, it doesn't look like Nick fully cleaned his cut because it still has a little bit of silver skin and a little bit of fat on it. It is a good idea to clean it a little more, especially if well, you're going to be using it like Nick is going to be using it.
So I got my 3 beautiful steaks right here. They are right now not tender at all. And my idea is to tenderize them. And for that, I think I got the perfect tool.
Where's he going?
Hello, Nick. I think this will work, right?
Try.
I don't know. Let's see. I've never tried it before. And it works so much that I'm afraid I'm gonna break my countertop.
Anytime that you want to flatten any meat or to like spread the meat out to make it a little larger, is a good idea to use the mallet. If you don't have one, you could also use a heavy pot. But mallets do come in handy, and you do have to be careful with them. I mean, they're handy for other things as well, for home defense, you know, things like this. Not for pounding nails in walls though. But Guga is right with this. You do have to be careful if you have a very nice countertop, because you don't want to break the countertop.
I'm also gonna be doing some surface area a little bit just to get it as nice and tender, everybody. This cut of meat needs some help.
I'm going to be using the flat side of the tenderizer because I'm not looking for any sort of texture on my spaghetti here.
One little thing, anytime that you're cutting anything on the cutting board, you need to be very careful that you never leave the knife blade side up. Now, of course, if you have a lot of things going on, because this is also a competition, it's understandable. And also it's a good idea to never leave the knife next to the edge of the counter to where it's actually sticking out past the counter, because I've seen this multiple times in the kitchen and you can easily cut yourself when taking a corner. It's just easy to cut yourself. It really is.
My whole goal was try to destroy those fibers as much as possible, but still make it look like a steak. And I think I accomplished that. It should be nice and tender. We'll find out.
I'm now going to start cutting these nice thin strips of meat, but they'll look really nice and creative once I go to cook them and plate them.
Why spaghetti?
When I went to Salt Bay's restaurant a while ago, trust me, I didn't like it. But the one thing I will say I did sort of enjoy was this one beef spaghetti plate that they brought out for us. The only question for me right now is how I'm actually going to cook these.
We're making it up as we go, everybody. That's what I love about this competition.
I love the honesty. I wonder how much Nick actually paid for this at Salt Bay's restaurant, because I doubt whether it was cheap. Highly doubt it. I mean, some of the steaks are $1,000, $1,500, I think even one up to $2,000 it costs.
I'm gonna keep cutting off these nice thin strips because I'm also trying to cut the longest strips possible for my pasta here. I actually need this to look realistic in order to have a shot at winning this competition.
Question to you, Nick, which one is more important, how it looks or how it tastes?
At the end of the day, I think we know the judges are gonna pick it based on how it tastes.
Mine looks like a disaster and you went through a car crash. Look at this, Nick.
It's disgusting.
Boom. Roasted.
Let me know, guys, in the comments down below, how would you approach this situation? What would you do with this meat? Because if you had a bunch of time, you could braise the meat, but that takes a lot of time. And if you didn't have a lot of time, you could turn this also into ground meat. You maybe add a little bit of fat to it to give it some extra flavor, but you could make some meatballs, burgers, meatloaf. You could even make ragu with it. Of course, if you had the time.
All right, I'm gonna keep mine real simple right now. Just season it with a good amount of salt, just to get the taste, because once I fry it up, I'm also gonna be seasoning my flour.
I'm gonna try a slightly different technique for cutting down the whole thing here and see if this makes me any nicer looking strands. I want them very thin and as tender as possible.
I've done so many experiments with this cut, and I know that buttermilk actually helps it tenderize it. So I am going to be using a little bit of buttermilk. I mean, take a look at it, everybody. It's already extra tender. For the flour, I start with all-purpose flour first, a good amount, followed by some salt, some black pepper, garlic powder, and smoked paprika. Mix, 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 mix. Now it's pretty straightforward. I'm gonna dredge it in flour. I wanna get a nice coating. And there we have it, it's ready to be fried.
But I'm gonna prioritize spending most of my time breaking down this meat to get it as tender as possible because that's gonna be the biggest challenge. Whoever's meat is more tender at the end is probably gonna win. And so far, I've spent substantially more time than Guga on this part.
I ain't got patience to make no spaghetti.
Guga did put a lot of salt in those. Now guys, when you're trying to cut some meat, especially to a very specific shape or size, like little pieces for even beef tartare, it is a good idea to chill the meat first, put it in the freezer for a little bit just to firm up, not to freeze it, because if it's frozen, it's not easy to cut, but just to firm up and it'll be easier to cut.
As you can see, I have them nice and ready. It's time to deep fry them, and I'll be doing so in some Wagyu fat.
That's not fair.
Why not?
You can't deep fry in Wagyu fat. Is he messing with me?
No.
I'd wonder how much that costs because the meat is not cheap.
Now, I may not be the meat master that Guga is, but I have watched his videos and he's used pineapple juice in the past to tenderize. So I'm gonna go into the bowl with my meat spaghetti and go over it with pineapple juice. That is gonna break it down even further. And at this point, I feel like mine is definitely gonna be more tender than Guga's.
Pineapple contains an enzyme called bromelain. This helps to tenderize the meat, but like with everything, you need to give it like a little bit of time to work.
I gotta be honest, that's cheating.
Pineapple is the only food that eats you back.
Little bit of Wagyu fat doesn't hurt anybody, and you might be quite surprised because this Wagyu fat is not as expensive as you might think.
Well, that answers my own question.
Got my Wagyu fat at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and now we deep fry it.
It sounds like Wagyu fat is within the rules today, so I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit to my pan as well. But I don't need quite as much as Guga.
This guy.
We need to watch more videos with Guga, and I think it would be an absolute blast to cook with him. I'm sure that most of you know that Brian went down there recently to cook with Guga, and it looked like he had a lot of fun doing so. So Guga, if you're watching this, I would love to cook with you, either in the US or over here in Spain. You're welcome to come.
I spent the first third of my time making sure this is as tender as possible, and I'm gonna spend the second third slow cooking it in this Wagyu beef tallow. I'm gonna head back to the spice cabinet here to see if I can find a few different somewhat Italian seasonings. I'll grab the oregano, maybe a little bit of garlic powder, onion powder, maybe even a little bit of MSG.
MSG?
This is what happens when you spend too much time with Uncle Roger. You start putting MSG in everything.
I'm also gonna grab a bit of cornstarch to thicken up all those steak juices to make that sauce. And last but not least, a touch of Worcestershire. I don't know how to say this.
Worcestershire sauce. You can also call it Lee and Pairings. It was created by Mr. Lee and Mr. Pairings more than 100 plus years ago, and they created this little fermented fish sauce. I believe that both of them were chemists by trade, and there are multiple ingredients in this fish sauce. It's not just fermented, say, anchovies or anything like this. They add a lot of other ingredients. The Romans used a fish sauce called garum, but at the end of the day, fish sauce is one of those things that it doesn't smell very good. It's disgusting, but the taste, It adds a lot of flavor to a dish.
My beef has been tenderizing for quite some time, so I'm gonna go ahead and start to dry it off because I don't want to bring a bunch of that pineapple juice over with me. I can tell the pineapple juice broke it down given the actual color of the beef has already changed. To season my meat, I'll toss it into a bowl along with a nice dusting of oregano, a little bit of onion powder, a touch of garlic powder, the tiniest little kiss of MSG, maybe a little more for Uncle Roger.
Next time you feel lonely, just eat some MSG.
A little W sauce, and to finish, a bit of pepper and a sprinkle of salt. And we mix it up. I'm actually not going for a huge sizzle here. Instead, I'm cooking this low and slow. This is the first time I'm ever cooking steak without trying to get a crust. For now, I'll cover it up to let it slow cook inside.
You know, thinking about it, if you're going to be making little strips of pasta, it would be a better idea not to fully cook the meat, because the more that you cook the meat, the less flexible it is. And when you cook dried pasta, it should be flexible, it shouldn't be stiff. But then again, with this meat, you need to tenderize it and everything. And we'll find out to see how tender it'll be in the end. I think it will be a little tough. I honestly believe it will be.
For now, I'll cover it up to let it slow cook inside. Ho-ho!
Gotta say, Nick, it's not looking great, everybody. It is not looking great.
Guga, this is not good.
Well, we're gonna figure it out as we go, everybody, because we show it like it is.
Ooh, this looks good.
It looks better than mine, Nick.
Definitely looks better than yours, and this does not look good, so that's saying something.
I agree with him. It does not look good at all. But if you don't burn it, you can cover it with a sauce if it doesn't look too nice.
To finish things off, I'm gonna go ahead and add in a nice splash of white wine, which will take off all those nice little bits that I've collected on the bottom. And now I'll let this reduce.
I'm gonna use a little bit of this Wagyu fat to make a gravy, Nick. A little bit of flour, and I'm gonna cook this flour. And now that I cook my flour, I'm gonna add in some milk and make my gravy. As you can see, my gravy is thickening up really nicely. That's what I'm looking for. And I'm almost done here.
The judges are gonna need to finish the rest of this bottle before they try your dish.
Oh, wow.
I love cooking with wine, and it is very easy to get drunk while cooking. You have to be careful. And I mean, not just from drinking. When you actually cook with enough wine, especially in a large pot, once the wine starts evaporating, the vapor itself, if you breathe that in, you can get a little tipsy.
Now that my meat is fully cooked, I have one more step in trying to make it as tender as possible. I'm gonna add it back into this bowl, then immediately, while it's still steaming, go ahead and cover it in plastic wrap. I'll let this steam while I make our sauce. I'll add in a touch of cornstarch, give it a quick whisk, and once it's golden brown, a little bit more white wine. I'm gonna thin this out with just a little bit of stock, and once it's ready, I'll add back in my steak and coat it all up in this nice, beautiful glaze. Feeling pretty good about this challenge right
You're
now.
feeling pretty confident, huh, Nick?
Guga, look at that. I mean, come on. That looks good. Guga, you wanna try a piece?
Hell yeah.
Yeah!
A little sneak preview. I haven't even gotten to try it yet.
Oh boy, I'm in trouble.
Is it good?
It's good. Good job. It's good. So I'll admit, my crust is not the best. The dredge did not stick to it. I have a relationship with iron, everybody. You already know this kind of meat always kicks my butt, but hopefully the gravy will fix it.
It can also be a mental challenge. You know, if you keep getting something wrong, you need to think positively and try to overcome it.
So I plated it up, and to finish it, we're gonna cover it up with gravy. That way the judges won't see it. And a little bit of parsley to finish it off. And that is my take on a $1 steak.
It does look better with the little sauce on top, like a lot.
My plating will be quite simple. I'll add my meat pasta to the center of the plate, trying to keep it nice and neat as I go. And I will say I'm really happy with how well this glaze is sticking to my pasta.
I would not call that pasta. It looks like something else.
It actually looks like a dog took a giant. Now I'll finish it off with some freshly grated Parmesan cheese and just a little bit of parsley for a little bit of flavor and color.
Yeah, to be honest, it does look like that. I'm sure it tastes good, but what it looks like, no.
And this is my take on $1 steak. They look good.
Yeah.
Like it actually looks great.
It's not bad.
No.
Good job. I think we did a good job. Now I say it is enough talking and let them eat.
Let's do it.
Nick.
Okay guys, let me know in the comments down below who you think is going to win this. Is it going to be Guga or is it going to be Nick?
All right, everybody, we got our beautiful steaks.
Wow, we got an upgraded Guga over here.
Yeah, good.
You've been using Keeps?
Yeah, I got my hair back.
We see what you were doing in Turkey. I like that. It was a good transplant right there.
Now I haven't seen a lot of Guga's videos and I don't know like his crew and what they've done. Has he actually gotten his hair back?
All right, boys, what are we gonna try first? Which should we try, this or this?
You're Guga, so you gotta lead us through.
I kind of want to go with the beef spaghetti.
Okay, let's
I'm
go
pretty
for the beef
curious
spaghetti.
what this tastes like. Okay, cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You know, I wouldn't expect it to be a very fair opinion if these guys are working for either of them. So I wonder who's going to keep their jobs today.
I'll say the flavor is amazing.
I thought it would be more tender, to be honest.
I thought it was actually going to taste like pasta for a second, as soft as pasta.
It looks like it would be really, really soft.
With my experience having eye-round, that is a lot tender than an eye-round steak normally is. Although you don't really get a lot of beef flavor, the glaze that's on there is delicious, but I can't get what Nick said out of my head, that it looks like dog poop, and now I feel really uncomfortable eating it. Can we move this off the table? This is so...
Stop looking.
All right, let's move on to Guga's dish.
Cheers.
Like I said earlier, I wouldn't expect this to be very tender, but I think it would be better maybe with some like real pasta.
Wow.
Wow.
It's a lot better than I expected it to be.
Yeah, I have to agree on that. The gravy is actually very flavorful, super, super salty, very savory, creamy.
I think the crunchiness masks how not tender the steak would be.
Yeah, the batter makes it a lot better. I got a
Yeah.
really good crunchy piece on the edge.
I'm very conflicted right now because although I like the tenderness of Nick's dish more, I like the flavors of Guga's dish more. I think that Nick's dish is more tender. What do you guys think?
I would agree, but I like the texture of this better.
I'm leaning towards Nick's dish overall. With the flavors, it did get a little bit more tender. Guga's dish is also feeling more tender than usual, and the flavors are good. The gravy is amazing. I love that gravy.
You know, right now, as they're speaking, I think they were also thinking, you know, do we want to keep our job? Like, seriously?
I think without Guga's gravy, this would be a no competition, like Nick wins. But that gravy
agree.
is so,
I
it
agree.
adds such a nice textural element. It's so flavorful that it makes it a really, really close decision.
I think we gotta give the final verdict.
Okay, Leo, you go first.
My winner is Guga.
I'm gonna go ahead and go with Nick.
Oh man.
All right, this is a really hard decision for me, and I hope my decision doesn't get me fired.
Oh no.
But I'm gonna have to go with Guga's dish.
I'm gonna fire Angel.
I'm gonna fire Manny.
Yeah, I don't think that's right.
Let's taste.
Let's taste, please. Yes.
I'll be honest, I thought I was gonna win.
Me too. Cheers.
This has been a fun video. We're gonna have to see the other videos between these two competing against one another.
That was fun to eat though.
That's delicious though. You know what it tastes like? Stroganoff to me.
Yeah,
You put a little bit of like pasta in there, or even like white rice. That's gonna be amazing.
I actually like that.
I like it. Even though it looked like dog poop, but who cares? You know what I mean?
Pretty good.
What it looks like is not important. What it tastes like is more important. You agree?
Not bad. Yeah.
I like it. Okay, let's try this one.
Let's see.
Cheers, buddy.
Yeah, that old debate between does it taste good or does it look good and not taste good. It's a case-by-case thing because sometimes you do have some dishes that look horrible, but they taste really good. Oh, and other times as well, vice versa. So, don't know. Hard to say.
That's good. Really salty.
It's salty, but just salty enough. It's too salty for you?
Yeah, it's too salty for me, but I like it though. I actually like both. I like yours better though.
I like your better. There you go. It's a tie
really?
now. Yes.
Let's just fire Manny and Angel.
That's right. So, official count, 1 tie. I got 2 wins. Let us know what should be next, and we're gonna make it happen. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Make sure you guys go check out Nick's channel if you haven't already. He's not only a great friend, but a great chef. We out. Angel, you're fired.
Manny, pack your stuff, you're done.
I think both of them did good. My money was on Guga because Guga works more with meat. Like all his channels are to do with meat. And like Guga said, maybe with some pasta or some rice, that Nick's dish could be very tasty. Although we can't really taste it because we're not there. So yeah, that's the only sad thing. In any case, Guga or Nick, if either of you are watching this, I would love to cook with both of you one day. Hopefully we can make that happen. If you did enjoy this video, guys, then be sure to give it a like and a share as well. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any other content coming out. I do have plenty of recipes on my YouTube channel as well. And if you want to see a very good video or a delicious recipe, then be sure to click on this one here. And I will see you guys again very soon. Until next time, take care.